What's up, everybody? Welcome to year 6 of the On Purpose podcast, where it's our privilege to show up with you each and every week and to have conversations. I share ideas, bring you stories of people that maybe we wouldn't cross paths with in our normal worlds, but we get to meet right here on the show. And I'm honored and humbled to be able to do this with you each and every week. And I thank you for being here. So, Happy New Year to you. Happy year 6 to us. And I'm excited for where things are going to continue to go and for us to continue to grow what I call the purposeful movement, bringing smiles to people's faces around the world, sharing good ideas, and just like this week, challenging ourselves to maybe be a little different, right? To do something that we know we should do, maybe we put off. So I want to call this week's episode, Do the Hard Stuff First. Right. I want to ask you to challenge yourself to do that hard thing in your life that you've been putting off because you know it's difficult, it's uncomfortable, it's going to be a challenge because we know those are the exact things we need to do to move ourselves, to move our families, to move our communities to the next level in life. Right? Nothing worth having is going to be easy. That saying has been around forever, right? And we know that, yet still it's still too comfortable for us to fall back to easy, to default to easy. And I'm going to ask you in 2025, going on forward right now, let's challenge ourselves to do that hard shit first. And as I was preparing for this episode, doing some research, I found this interesting that a study released in 2023 that had followed 3,525 Swedish university students for a year period, checking in with them at 5 different intervals, focused on procrastination. Some were assigned to delay a bunch of things, others were allowed to do it immediately. And the group that was forced to procrastinate showed elevated risk and symptoms and behaviors associated with depression, anxiety, elevated stress, loss of appetite, sleep issues, and financial discourse, right? They think about it, they were told they had to put off things that they knew they wanted to get done, and it negatively impacted their bodies, their minds, their ability to make money because it goes counterintuitive to what we know we're supposed to do, right? And without being a scientist of any kind, I can share with you from my experiences as a parent, and from that of coaching other people, that when we procrastinate, when we put off doing that hard stuff for another day, it is the equivalent of taking a loss in competition, right? It's like losing a game, except we're not playing a game. It's our lives. It's our word. It's our integrity to ourselves that's getting beat, right? Because I tell myself, I'm going to do X first thing in the morning. Tomorrow morning starts this. I'm going to do it first thing in the morning. And then morning comes and I say, I can get to X right after lunch. It fits better right after lunch. Then after lunch comes, I'll say, I'll get to X right after work today, right after dinner. Then that time comes, I say, oh, tomorrow I'll start. You see, each time I don't hold myself accountable, I'm losing. I'm losing that little battle to myself. Each time that hard thing that should have been done today gets moved to another day, I've lost that whole day. I've lost a day of experience of dealing with it. I've lost a day of learning, of understanding, of facing it. And the more times I do it, the better I get at it, right? It's like any other skill, any other thing we practice. The more I do something, the better I will get at doing it. So the more I put off doing hard things, the more I avoid those conversations, the more I tiptoe around some honest conversations with myself, the better I get at doing it. So now those little battles becomes into big wars. And now I have these big life habits developed over years now of putting things off that seem insurmountable, right? Psychologically, it's easier for me to keep doing the same things, not just to myself, but now it can bleed into other relationships, other aspects of my life. Maybe I don't pursue my career with the same vigor because I'm comfortable. I take the easy road instead of seeking that promotion, which could change my family's financial future. Maybe I don't accept that physical challenge, knowing I have health risks with my current behavior, because it's going to be hard to give up the sugars I like, the sweets I like. It's going to be more work to plan meals than to just eat conveniently. Yet I know I'm supposed to do it. See, and the crazy thing of all this is that we know. I think almost all of you can go back at some point in your mind and go, man, that hard thing I did, as soon as I did it, I realized it wasn't nearly as hard as I thought it was going to be. We know that our minds can trick us into thinking our fears, our doubts, our insecurities are much bigger and more serious than they truly are. But we don't usually recognize it until we've handled it, till we're through that little battle. And then we look back and go, man, I should have done that last year or yesterday. Think about that. So we know scientifically putting things off, avoiding the hard things in our life is bad for us. It has detriments to our health, to our mental well-being, to our financial earning power potentially. And we know that usually our past successes told us that once we get through something, we realize it wasn't as hard as we thought, which leads us to this point. If we know those things are true, if we accept those and go, yeah, I believe those are probably true, then it leads us to this point right here, which is do that hard shit first. Quit putting it off. Don't put the easy stuff in front of the hard stuff. Get the hard stuff done. Then the easy stuff is that much easier. Do the workout. Go for your long walks. Meditate, read, write, learn something new. Have a conversation. Do the hard stuff up front. Right? Let's say that this is the time that the hard stuff becomes the fun stuff, that the hard stuff, the challenging stuff that we know we're going to grow from, that we know we're going to look back on and remember. If you think about it, nothing easy in your life is memorable. You can't probably look back and go, oh, I remember 30 years ago I did this thing. It was super easy. There's no story in that. There's no joy in that. There's no, man, I accomplished something because the shit was easy. But all of us can stop and go, man, that thing that was really, really hard, I remember that. And I remember it took me 10 tries or 12 tries. And I remember I didn't want to start, and I put off starting, and I finally started. I realized how much I liked being challenged. And that's where I want us to get for this episode is do the hard shit first. Accept the challenge that life's not supposed to be easy. Our days aren't supposed to be filled with easy activities, and that there's no growth in the easy zone. So whatever it is that we've been procrastinating about, whatever it is that's hard, that scares us, let's do it. Let's make today the day we decide to quit making excuses for ourselves, to quit letting ourselves off the hook, to put accountability back in our lives each time we look in the mirror, and understand that right now is that perfect time to do something hard. Let's go. Let's accept the challenge that life can be hard, and we are more than capable of handling it. So if you've gotten anything out of this episode or the other 283 episodes, crazy number, right? 283 that we've done over 5 years, please like, subscribe, share the show on your favorite podcast app or YouTube and YouTube. Do them both, please. Help us continue to grow our purposeful movement around the world. And we want to, whose financial contributions go a long way in helping us keep our show independent, growing, and reaching more people around the world. So if you'd like to get early access to episodes, extra content, interact more directly with the team, consider joining us on Patreon at patreon.com/The On Purpose Podcast. Let's do something hard this week. Have a great week, everybody.